This is Chuck Dixon, the co-creator of Bane, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
Hey, this is Johnny Cates, author of Buzzkill, and you are tuned in to Vigilant Liberty Radio. Get it on.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Ed Morrissey of HotAir.com, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
At Independent Journal Review, we publish news that is objective, fair, and entertaining. As one of the top websites in the United States, it's our duty to bring the absolute best to our readers. Readers like you. IJReview.com, your number one source for news and entertainment.
Welcome back to the show, folks. This is The Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. If you would like to call in this last half hour, please do. 412-567-6879, or you can banter, interact with us via Twitter at The Right Mics. Miller, we were talking, I think this is a conversation that we could have on the air. Not only could the premium members benefit, obviously, for the off-air conversation we had, but we were just kind of talking about this idea of shared responsibility for success that Liz Warren makes reference to, paying for the roads and schools and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, the gist of Justin's post, which is good, is, this comment about the drug companies and so forth. And that's related to the taxpayers. In other words, what she's saying in that quote is that because taxpayers fund the government, and the government has participated in grants and such to, help universities, drug companies, and so forth with research. It's this, what Michael and I were talking about off air was this second comment. And she made this prior to Obama's "you didn't build that." But let's just do it one more time. I think the basic notion is right. Nobody got rich on their own. But here's the deal. People worked hard. They built a business, God bless them, but they moved their goods on roads. The rest of us helped build. They hired employees. The rest of us helped educate. They plugged into a power grid. The rest of us helped build. That is just a little bit different, and it illustrates this kind of overall justification for wealth redistribution that liberals believe in. It's this, rich people have to pay their fair share. And the comment I was making off air was that Fine. Other people built roads. And that's, you know what, regardless of what your job is or anyone's job is, if you choose to be a janitor, if you choose to be a server at a restaurant, or build roads, and I mean, run the machinery and, build the roads, not own the companies, God bless you. And if you do your job right and you respect yourself for doing it, I respect you just as well. But by choosing those jobs, and then expecting for them, as the liberal elites do, that somehow because they choose to do what they do, those who choose to become physicians or those who choose to become small, successful business owners somehow have a responsibility to pay them, to in effect, subsidize them through higher taxes. That's the basis of American liberalism. And that's where people like Houseman and I get our hair on fire.
Oh, absolutely. It's what she's clearly trying to do is link and connect the money, the access to the money. That there is some sort of collective entitlement to the profits of one to everyone else because of that.
Exactly. She's trying to give specific examples to justify wealth redistribution. That's all she's doing here. And she's trying to not do it philosophically or just use the buzz phrases that they use, fair share and a leg up and everybody gets a fair shot. She's trying to use specific examples of jobs to justify wealth redistribution. It's not any more complicated than that.
Right. It's the opposite side of the IRS nomenclature for the Affordable Care Act, the quote shared responsibility payment. So on behalf of the country, we have shared responsibility payments due to the IRS to fund healthcare, going exactly the opposite way with the same kind of wording. There is there's a what would the way to say it? A shared not the word responsibility, but shared participation in profits as a result of an equal contribution to the profits themselves.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up shared responsibility payment, and that is, you guys, what they call, the surcharge, the everything where people who make more money are going to have to pay more for Obamacare. So people who obviously make less pay less or nothing in some circumstances. But Michael, when I first read that, I'd forgotten about it for a while until you just now brought it up. And as I said, I'm glad you did. Shared responsibility payment. That sounds, and I'm not being facetious, that sounds like something that could have come out of the Soviet Union. That nomenclature.
Oh, no question about it. I mean, that it's purely Marxist.
Exactly. It's exactly. Shared responsibility for what? Shared responsibility that I chose to be a successful financial planner and have my own practice. Shared responsibility that you built your own company. That someone spends years going to medical school and doing internship and residency and everything. I should share, in other words, the rewards that I collectively, all of those examples I just gave, I should share the rewards. It's part of my responsibility to take hard-earned money, okay, that I invested time and money in for years, and give part of that money who chooses to be a janitor. And again, I respect the hell out of that janitor if that's all he aspires to be.
Right. The idea is, the flip side of it is that the profits should not merely accrue to the owners and the workers in the pharmaceutical company or whatever. They should accrue to everybody because there's a shared contribution to whatever infrastructure that made those profit pursuits possible in the first place.
And there is not a shared contribution. Just as in I had a lot of small business owners as financial clients when I had my practice, and it was very difficult to see them because they were always working. And generally, I would not see after I became relatively successful earlier in the practice. I had people come to my office, just like they would come to a doctor's office or the accountant or the attorney or whatever. I did not run around and see people anymore, but I invariably would go to see small business owners because they were working all the time. And a lot of times it would be way early in the morning because theirs was the first car in the parking lot. Theirs was generally the last one hours they worked, which was fine, So that I just loathe, the way that liberals try to paint business owners as these, these evil, selfish people who get rich on the back of their workers. Dude,
yeah, exactly.
There's not a lot that sets me off more than that.
No, absolutely not. In fact, here's the comment Dan Fitzgerald a few minutes ago just tweeted as we began this topic. So, government inserts itself into the supply chain, then claims credit? Sort of. In this particular case, what the government is doing is that all of society, the entire collective, is already a part of if maybe not the supply chain, but the overall formative chain in the business, and therefore has a justification for claiming the credit.
Exactly what they think. That's a good point, Dan. And dude, we talked about, I've talked about Hayek before, and I've actually said this before too, but here's fundamentally what is a mess in this country right now with the liberals. And I have this quote permanently attached to Rat Nation, which I visit every once in a while. I don't go there like I used to, but and it's one of Hayek's most famous quotes. There is all the difference in the world between treating people equally and attempting to make them equal. And that's exactly what Elizabeth Warren and Barack Obama and that whole ilk want to do.
Right. They're saying that we are all equal because we all have shared responsibility in whatever successes anybody else has.
Well, sure, but I even read beyond that in terms of trying to make them all equal economically.
Standard, right. In terms of result.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, you're right.
So,
yeah, you know what? I see this, and there are so many people that what it is it's a category confusion. Obviously, we do have shared responsibility for the roads and even education, and then and those are decisions that we've made as a society. But she's confusing that particular category with the business that's being built on that foundation. It's a category confusion on her part.
Well, they do it on purpose. Yeah.
Well, they certainly do it on purpose, but I think for a lot of folks, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, well, yeah, without the roads, without the schools, without the public court system, without all of this stuff, these businesses wouldn't even been possible. So therefore, we have a claim to that. The problem is that opportunity that everybody has exists to everybody
exactly
because of that foundation, and it's individuals that take advantage of it.
And setting aside the idiocy of the logic here, the economic tomfoolery, this is a brilliant statement for someone like Elizabeth Warren to use to play to, as Rush calls them, low information voters. I think some people who hate Rush or hate what he says, maybe hate's a strong word. When Rush Limbaugh says low information voters, I think a lot of people think he's talking about stupid people. People who, if you asked them how many people were on the Supreme Court or whatever have you, they wouldn't, and on down the line, like Dan Joseph does. Rush talks about low information voters in the context of people might be even purposely low information. Like they don't want to know, Michael, what you and I know about economics or business and how it works, or people surely just more educated than us in these areas. That is who the Democrat Party plays for, and plays to, and of course it plays to the no information people as well. But there's a large part both parties. I mean, but you know what I'm saying? This is purposely